In 2012, Cloud Imperium Games announced Star Citizen. It successfully crowdfunded over $2 million and began production of the game with a significantly higher budget than they had had prior. As of right now, the game is not done, and as of June 2020, they had raised over $300 million to continue their ongoing development. And development is ongoing. In fact, that's really what we want to talk about here today. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Gameranx, we ask the question, is Star Citizen taking too long? So here's the deal. You can buy an early access version of the game right now. You can buy a package to play the game. Packages start at $45 and go up as high as $1,100, which, by the way, I gotta say, that's, if you got that kind of money to spend and you want to spend it, it's a free country, but man, I'm struggling to be civil here. There are 3 things in the game: Star Marine, Arena Commander, and the Persistent Universe. Star Marine is the FPS version of the game. It's there to showcase the type of mechanics they've come up with. Arena Commander is some space combat game modes, some races, kind of mini-game stuff. And Persistent Universe is the main thing. It's freeform space exploration, combat, and trading, similar to Elite, but it's much more ambitious. I think it's really important just to say that after this much time, and just keep in mind that they've been in development since 2010, 2 years before they announced and crowdfunded. Obviously, the budget was much smaller prior to that, but still, after all this time, we're essentially at a point where we've got 3 tech demos. The interesting thing is you get a character creator that, again, we're talking about a game that is more than a decade into development, that's really like bare bones. You drop in, you start making this character, and you can kind of blend stuff from some pre-made models. It's not that, like, the faces look, like, bad or anything. It's just not really handled well in terms of customization or any of this. I kind of feel like it's also not really that important. Like, it kind of feels a little unnecessary, given your head is going to be obscured at all times. But all right, let's talk a little bit about each module. Star Marine. It's multiplayer FPS combat. We did not have luck with this. We did not get anywhere with matchmaking for the most part. It feels like a vaporware game where there's like nobody playing it, but I have to imagine a game that's raised this much money has more than like one other person to play with at any given time. Also, everything feels weak or awkward or stilted in some way. I don't know exactly how to describe it beyond that. This mode just feels unnecessary and weird and also bad. And that could be because it's not working like it's supposed to. I don't know at this point. Arena Commander came off significantly better, I would say. I mean, we're still dealing with the fact that there's not really a lot of matchmaking that works going on. However, you can play Arena Commander single player. So, I mean, you get various modes here, all of which are supposed to be integrated into the final game. Space combat, for instance, we can play here. It feels good, a little arcadey, but for me, that's good. I like arcade style space shooters. We did experience bugs, but that shouldn't be a shock with the other mode, which was, like I said, we experienced much more significant bugs there. But all right, there is not a lot going on in the Persistent Universe. So we've got hangars in the Stanton system. The game's supposed to eventually have 100 star systems. We have 1 currently. The graphics are pretty. I gotta give them that. We can't sit here and say that this doesn't look good. Like, you're looking at footage of the game right now. It's pretty. But it's kind of important to note that even though it's like big where you start out, this city called Lorville, it's kind of falsely big, maybe kind of specifically made to create the appearance of size, because obviously we're talking about a game that's supposed to be massive and ambitious and all that. And then you can kind of basically do combat missions and also delivery scanning, basically variations on fetch quests, which again, at this point in time, 12 years into development, not that impressive. There's a lot of like needless complication of what's going on. And like, these are supposed to be like massive, sprawling, persistent worlds with other people in them, but there's only like 50 people per world. So like, it might as well be No Man's Sky. You really don't feel like you ever encounter other people, at least from what we've seen currently. And while I do want to go ahead and say that there are elements of this thing that are very impressive, particularly in the graphics, I've done a quick run through of basically what we've observed thus far in the game for the purpose of talking about the actual question at hand. To restate it, is Star Citizen taking too long? And if we're talking from a purely like where we are right now perspective, I would not want them to release the game right now and say this is the complete product. So in that sense, no, it's not taking too long. They need to do more. But that is not how people measure things like this. Like that's not a realistic way of saying like, did this take too long? Well, it's not done yet, so obviously. No, that's not how this works. This is, again, a game that has raised over $300 million in crowdfunding, which is probably the most accountable possible way in the current economic system to do game development. And also, like, the amount of money it would take to develop a AAA game over the course of maybe 2 years. And when I say a AAA game, I mean like a high-budget action RPG or something. And what we're sitting at is a thing that appears to not have anything at all done 12 years into the project. And I know that a defender of the game is going to say, well, I mean, you've even complimented the graphics of this game. Look at all those completed assets. Aspects of this game are complete. Sure. I'm not really here to argue with you about the quality of some visual assets in this game. It's hands down gorgeous. I have nothing but appreciation for the artists involved in this game. And you know what? A lot of the developers probably have really good intentions and want to create something amazing. I am not trying to take away from that. This is a hugely ambitious project, and just to be completely clear, all of the work that people have put into this, it's appreciated, because there's stuff here that's cool. But the way that this game has progressed through its development, the way that it is 12 years past when they originally started this game, nearing 10 years past when they crowdfunded it, and we've got a tech demo of a single system and some modules of games that don't work. I find it really hard to believe that we would accept the idea from basically any other developer or project that this game hasn't taken too long. I mean, the way that this game continues to raise money by selling kind of falsely scarce in-game stuff, like you can buy various ships and packs. Like you could spend $27,000 on a pack, which included various ships. The most expensive individual ship is $2,500. And there's basically no other game that has ever operated like this, where they're just selling like real estate and items and things in this virtual world that nobody can actually inhabit, at least not in the capacity that they've promised. And they've spent a decade doing this, promising that this game is around the corner. And when they announced in 2012, they said this game was going to come out in 2014. Now, I don't think anybody saw the scale of the project they were proposing and thought, yeah, it seems like that's a reasonable time frame. But I don't think anybody thought decade either. Like, in a lot of cases, I kind of think the funding model being successful has actually been the worst thing for the game. Like, I think probably there's a lot of people drawing salaries that are really comfortable now, just kind of tinkering around with code, thinking, we'll get this done someday, and when it's done, it'll be perfect, but it's worthless to do unless it's perfect, because we've had all this time to do it anyways, why not do it completely right? Which, I mean, I get that, but like it's the thing that led Axl Rose to spend 14 years making a rock album that not a whole lot of people liked. You ever listen to Chinese Democracy? It's a really underwhelming album that is the result of a perfectionism that just, why? What's the point? There's no such thing as complete art. John Lasseter, the head of Pixar, says their films don't get finished, they just get released, which is that there is an importance on release which necessitates a certain level of completion and a certain degree of understanding that any artistic product is going to contain some degree of imperfection. And I don't know if that's the mindset that is at play here, but if it's not, then they really have no excuse. I personally want to give the benefit of the doubt because, honestly, it's a very impressive looking game, and they're trying to do something that nobody else has ever done, at least not to this extent. But yeah, Star Citizen is taking too long. I would say that people who even are very much pro Star Citizen think that the game is taking too long. I would hope anyways, because, I mean, criticize the monetization all you want. There are some people that are just fine with that, but they shouldn't be fine with a game that has taken this long and is in this state. But what do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. The best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on Gameranx.